Oh, hello. Today is Wednesday, April the 15th of 2020. 2020, what a year. If I'm hesitating, it's because there's a slightly new version of Facebook Live and it's very annoying. Uh, very annoying. Anyway, here I am. If you're joining me today on the live, I can't see who's here. So please feel free to say hello or leave a comment in the comment box. So I don't feel like I'm just talking to an empty echo chamber. It's been a busy day and it's been a busy 24 hours. My heart goes out to people in business who are struggling. I wouldn't go as far as saying my business is booming, but it's pretty much tracking as normal. And in case you're watching this and you are a naturopath, herbalist, or nutritionist, I've recently put a post, actually yesterday, on my website on jillstannard.com.au to say that I'm now opening a new pod for group mentoring. It's a very small group. And it is for support and guidance during these interesting times. I'm already running a group with people who are current or previous mentees. It's going really well. So I thought I would open up this opportunity for other practitioners that I have not mentored yet. Anyway, check that out on my website. So today I'm going to talk about something that may not be a popular thing to talk about. This was triggered by, yesterday afternoon, did a quick compost run. I have a very fortunate to have a plot in a community garden just a couple of blocks away. And I was walking up one of the neighbouring streets sometime before 4 in the afternoon. Firstly, I saw a elderly, definitely over 70-year-old woman who was standing in the middle of the road chatting to people. Quite lucid. I'm not implying that she had any cognitive deficiency, but she should have been at home. One of the people she was talking to was a neighbour of hers who looked like she was probably late 50s, outside on her balcony in the sun. And the older woman said, "So, what are you doing to keep yourself sane through this?" And the woman on the balcony raised her glass and showed a almost finished glass of wine. And she said, "I'm just drinking. This is what I'm doing." This comes on the back of quite a few Facebook conversations that has been going on amongst some of my Facebook friends with frequent mention of alcohol, but also one recently asked the question, am I the only one who's drinking more through this? And 90% of her Facebook friends said, yep, just drinking so much more. I've also know that probably the local businesses that are thriving the most here are alcohol businesses. The deliveries, even the expensive alcohol shop, when people could go to the cheapo place and buy a bottle of wine for $7. And this one, it's like 40, 50, 60, 70 and up. So we're not talking about people economizing when they're drinking. They told me that they were just having the best month ever, absolute boomer month. So my thoughts are that by now we should be through the novelty of lockdown, the realization that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think it's time to consider our coping mechanisms through this time. Now, I'm not demonizing alcohol. What I do want to think about is our behaviors of what we do to numb ourselves when we're stressed, when we're bored, when things are a bit difficult. So 3 kind of legal common ways that we numb ourselves tend to be too much screen time, comfort eating or just eating, and alcohol. And alcohol is something that's very accepted as a sociable, grown-up thing to do in Australia. Now, one thing that really alarmed me more than 10 years ago when I was doing a kind of end-of-year review of my current clients and did a bit of kind of forensic digging to see if not just why people came to see me, but if I found any other clinical or subclinical conditions that they hadn't prioritised. And I discovered a really growing trend, so more than 10 years ago, more than a decade ago, of women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s drinking excessively. And excessively, I mean beyond the government guidelines. Now, the government guidelines have been kind of pulled back to about no more than 2 standard drinks a day for a woman and 3 for a man, I think. Don't quote me on that, but that's roughly what it is. And the key there is standard drinks. And a standard drink is often a lot less than a home pour. So a little exercise I would suggest you do if you're a wine drinker is look on the label of that particular bottle of wine that you're drinking, and it should have a little symbol and say with a glass to say how many standard drinks in that bottle. Now, standard drinks in Australian wines, in a bottle of wine, is going up. Our wine is getting stronger over the years, and it might be 5.5 standard drinks, but a lot more of them closer to like 6.9. So a little bit of maths, and your phone will probably have a calculator, is to take the 750 for the 750 mils, divide it by the number of glasses on the bottle. I'm going to play along at home. So, and that gives you how many mils are a glass of that. So if it's 6.9 and some are 7.5, 6.9 is like 108 mils for a standard drink. I'd really suggest if you've got to measure it and measure that and pour that into your glass and say, this is a standard drink. For a lot of people, when I kind of drill down and say, oh, they just have a couple of glasses, and I tend to say how much is left in the bottle, and they might say half a bottle. So half a bottle is definitely more than standard drinks. And there seems to be an issue, particularly growing issue, and this has come out in the statistics in recent years since I made that early discovery of myself. I'm just watching my computer wiggle a bit. I'll move further away. Is that it is a growing issue with women, particularly older women, and excessive drinking. And most are drinking more than they think. So one of the so I'm not talking about alcoholism, I'm talking about how it impacts us that night, if it's at night, and the next day. So one thing that can tend to happen is that we may fall asleep on the couch or fall asleep really easily after a couple of drinks, and then find an hour or 2 later you wake up, you're wide-eyed, and basically your blood sugar's dropped, and you're also dehydrated. And so while you can fall asleep pretty easily, it's a disturbed drink, and it's a disturbed sleep and a poor quality sleep. And this is really exacerbated for women with going through menopause. And most women will find that, even one glass of alcohol is likely to trigger hot flushes and disturb sleeps, and potentially really drenching sweats. The next day, what I tend to find that even on alcohol at a glass or 2, which hasn't made you tipsy, you tend to wake up the next day a notch or 2, depending on how much you're drunk. It can be quite a few notches, less energetic, a notch or 2 more anxious, a notch or 2 more depressed, or unmotivated. So you mightn't feel like a hangover, but it's like, oh, I'm going to stay in bed a bit longer, can't be bothered. Oh, I was going to go for a run, I'll leave it till tomorrow, or I might go later today. It really impacts on our mental health, drinking. And as I said, we're not even going in the territory of excessive drinking or addiction. So my suggestion today for surviving lockdown is to challenge yourself to try to change some of those behaviours. And to change the behaviour is first to become aware of it, and to become aware of it with curiosity, not judgment and not blaming. It may be a case of, oh, I just had a glass of wine, I didn't even taste it. Oh, I'm curious about that. Did it feel like I was just downing some medicine and I was going after the effect? Did I go for a celebratory vodka or go for a drink at the end of the day because I got through the day? So it's a reward, or it's a celebration. Yay, I got through the day. Or I'm bored, let's have a drink. I don't know what to do next, let's have a drink. At least try to slow the process down by having a big glass of water before your first drink. And if you do have another one, another big glass of water then. Because sometimes we reach for the bottle because we're actually thirsty, but we're not aware of it. So, no judgments. There's a lot of resources at jillstannard.com.au around alcohol and that little equation for standard drinks, and a whole curated list of non-alcoholic drinks, which I put up for FebFast a few years ago, and I've added to it over time. If you are feeling challenged changing behaviour, then get some help. And if it's like you're trying to find a healthy way out of this, you know that I'm here. Thank you for turning up today, and I will be back tomorrow, Thursday, at 1 o'clock. So if there's anything you'd like me to share with you at that time, please do. Otherwise, have a great night and perhaps an alcohol-free night. Just acknowledge and be curious about what emotions, even me suggesting that, brings up for you. See you tomorrow.